taking the pulpit. He asked the attorney next to him what was going on, and the attorney said, "He's just opening for the defense." There is so much to talk about in my father's 33-year life that it can't be summarized in the few minutes provided to me today. I could speak for days about his service to the community, his work as an attorney, or his dedication to his family. Pope Francis has said that shepherds should smell like their sheep. I remember visiting my father at the Lions Club booth at the fairgrounds under the bright golden lion. You could always find him up to his elbows in grease with a big smile on his face between two other guys flipping hamburgers or manning the till. And that was just one of his community commitments. There were so many others that I have lost count. He has donated time and treasure to so many places and organizations that it would seem boastful to list them. He did it with quiet determination and never complained. My father was never ashamed to smell like the community he lived in. I have unique insight into his work as an attorney. I worked as a clerk in his office for one summer and have said that I learned more in one summer working for my father than I did in 3 years of law school, and I stand by that statement. My father was the last of the small-town general practitioner lawyers, and he ran a very tight law firm. He had a reputation as a client whisperer. Other attorneys would hand him their difficult, rude, and impossible clients, and Dad would accept them and deliver their cases to safe resolution. Taking care of high-touch clients meant that he often visited them in person. I remember one client, an old woman in Casey, it was during an ice storm, the power was out and she did not answer her phone. Her son called in a panic from California, my father, and Dad called the sheriff, and together they drove over icy roads and checked on her. The roads were particularly bad that night, and Mom sat by the window, sick with worry the entire time Dad was gone. Complaining he'd gone to bed and was not answering her phone. It was several hours before Dad was home safely. I thought of my father often in law school, especially when I read the Model Rule of Professional Conduct 2.1. In representing a client, a lawyer shall exercise independent professional judgment and render candid advice. In rendering advice, a lawyer may refer not only to law, but to other considerations such as moral, economic, social, and political factors that may be relevant to the client's situation. On those occasions in my own professional life, when I am called upon to consider matters outside the law in rendering professional advice, my first thought is still, what would Dad say? I glimpsed my father as a community leader and a lawyer, but I really knew him as a father and as a family patriarch, and this is where he truly shined. I lose count of the ways Dad was ahead of his time. My father set so many examples that I strive to follow. When I was in high school, my grandparents began the long, painful descent into old age. My father stood by them. My father strived to make their lives easier by arranging care for them and by visiting them and by never forgetting their needs. I have only recently begun to understand how painful that must have been for him. My father was respectful to his wife, and he listened to her. He strived to treat my mother as an equal partner in intellect and decision-making the entire time I knew him. I am only now beginning to understand that that was not an accepted practice in the 70s and 80s the way it is today. My father kept an elaborate shoe polish kit and polished his shoes with military precision every week. My father was a faithful exerciser. He would jog 3 miles every day, rain or shine. My father not only lived a sober life, but he would sometimes stand by the bar table and keep talking about everybody else's intake, which could be annoying sometimes. For much of his life, he eschewed soda and coffee beverages. Dad taught us to think and to spread our wings and to fly, and he was aware that the early examples that he had were not perfect, but he strived to exceed them to give his sons and daughters parents that they could be proud of, and we are. Of all the people I know well enough to have an opinion, there are many people who I love and many people who I respect in part. I respect their personality or I respect their accomplishments. I have been able to identify 3 people on earth who I respect unreservedly, and my father is the first. I hope I meet more people like my dad in the future, but as I have seen humanity, I can't help but think that I am incredibly blessed. I have met 2 other people I can compare favorably to him. Thank you, Dad, for being the first person who I respected.